I have click live, so I hope I'm live. Bart, Linus, hey, I'm live. Awesome. Good to see you. See, final, Aegis decks. Minecraft. Oh, you got a Clover Suite? That's awesome. Wait, this video is private? Hmm. Is YouTube messing with me? If I'm live, I don't know if I'm live. Give me 1 second. It just logged me out during the live stream. I mean... Okay, so I am live. That was the weirdest thing. Yeah, okay. I've been live for 2 minutes. Great. Well, YouTube just signed me out in the dashboard. Hey, David. I see Coolton. Becca, welcome to the live stream. Good to see you. Let's see now. I think I have to... No, actually the chat still works. Great. Alright. Yeah, now things should be good. We're up and running. There's some people in here. Glad to see you all. Alright. So, the mission in this live stream is to see if I can find one of those shiny Wailords. And essentially what I'm going to do is that I will be hosting some of these raids. The 3-star raids I will not host. And then some of the 4 and 5-star raids I will host. And then, yeah, so the mission is to find the shiny Wailord. That is part of the current mission. Though I had a conversation with Final and some other friends in the Discord. And essentially the odds of actually finding this Wailord is depressingly low. It says on Cerebi that it is a 2% chance to find it within the 5-star raids, within the event raids. Meaning, it's a 2% chance within the 5 stars. So if we find a 5-star raid, then it can either be a 5-star raid that is not part of the event, to which those 2% would be outside of those odds, but within the only... Yeah, so essentially I think it's something like 1 in 1,000 to actually find this Wailord, or 1 in 250 or something like that. Somewhere in between those two numbers. But yeah. Well, in a way, I don't mind. Like, it's a shiny Pokemon, and if it's more of a community effort to actually have some live streams here and see if we can find it, that's great. And then on the topic of hosting the raids, I am only giving out my friend code to YouTube members, patrons, and the staff of the NPC HQ. So that's essentially who may join these raids. And so whether or not I find a shiny, I'm just sticking to that raid setup that I've had all the other live raids. So yeah, actually I got a 4-star Chansey here. And essentially, before the live stream, I used up all my Armorite ore. I think I had 70. So I got like 500,000 watts, bought 100 wishing pieces, and then I'm just gonna run around in the Honeycomb Island and see if we can get the Wailord. So far, I found 2 Wailord. 5-star, and none of them were shiny. Cooltan says, "Hi Nirth, love your videos. Thank you very much. I know that the past 2 weeks have been a little dry on videos. The reason being I went on vacation. I also spent some time offline just trying to figure out a new study schedule for myself, because it's not long until the new semester starts. Like, it's literally 2 weeks until. So I just had to get that out of the way. And the main goal there was just to make a new schedule and also make a proper strategy on how I can actually study enough the upcoming few months. And if I'm able to do that, then there should be plenty of time in my schedule so that I can have some live streams. I didn't mean to start already, but here we go, Aegis, or Aegis. Yeah, so essentially, I have a busy year upcoming because this semester was hard. Didn't pass all my classes, and so I got extra work on top of trying to finish by next year. And then essentially, I want to make a new everyday now here that works, that allows me to consistently make videos and host live streams. So at the current time, let me know if the sound is weird. Like, it's marking red here in OBS. So if the sound sounds different than usual, please let me know. It seems like I need to take down the music just a little bit. Something like that. And then, yeah, just let me know if it sounds good. Yeah, it's okay though. I'm gonna, like, the mission here is not to do chancy resets for everyone. The mission is to find the shiny Wailord and have 1.5 hours on me to pump as many wishing pieces as I can. Though, just for long-term sustainability with my own user, I'm gonna do the 3-star raids to get those Armorite ores. That's good to hear that the stream sounds good. Hey Lord, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, so with the Armorite ores, apparently if you get 18,000 watts, or no, it would be 21,000. If you get on average 21,000 watts per digging duo, then your net wishing pieces / watts, so that you can essentially do endless raids where you're the one throwing in the wishing piece. But obviously not all raids are easy to do, and I think those are offset by the crazy digging spree that the digging pass sometimes has, or get like 100,000. Your mic is muted. That's really funny. Caden Crow says, I got shiny Wailord today. That's awesome. I have a list of video topics that I want to go over the coming months. And one of those topics is just discussing more broadly why it is important to have a collection of Pokemon that you value and are happy with, and that you worked hard for. Because essentially it's the cornerstone of Pokemon and having a great community. And so, yeah, get those shiny Pokemon added to your home collection, and it's great. Final Rush says, you can also use 4 rare bones to make wishing pieces. Really? Oh, I just blew off my watts then, right? Because if you do the digging duo and just like mash your buttons, is that the best way? I heard Verlis talk about that. Lord says, hey, thanks. You too. Yeah, thank you. Just been having a lazy day, jumping between watching you and reading. Oh, really? What have you been reading? I'm interested to hear what books you're, or if it's even books, you know. Yeah, you know what? Why not? It's free items if you just want to join some raids. and it doesn't slow me that much down. Yeah, essentially, I'm reading a book by Dostoevsky. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but it's The Crime and Punishment. I think I got like 100 pages in so far. And I know it's just a classic, a little difficult to read, but it's fun. Final Rush says, I don't have the patience for the digging duo personally. People are also spoiled by their turbo controllers. I don't like the turbo controllers. I want to click myself. Caden says, yeah, thank you for the help, Lord. Minecraft, hey, welcome to the live stream. Olivier says, Nirth, I got 4 shiny Gengar today. 5 shiny? Oh, in the community day. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it worked out for you. Those you can soon send... Wait, actually, you can send them over to Pokemon Sword and Shield through Let's Go and Home. That's awesome. I thought about that afterwards, and then I haven't been all that active in Pokemon Go recently. Oh, you gotta go. No problem. Thank you for dropping by. Yeah, essentially, I had a pretty hefty workout today, and then I spent some time in the Discord, some family time, and then got ready for the live stream here and try to, like, I've been offline trying to get this Wailord for a long time. Like, I probably spent about 2 hours just goofing around in the Discord in between trying to find this raid. So it was, I at some point sat down and did the odds, and they're not great. So don't expect any shiny Wailords in this live stream. It is the target. It would be great if we find it. And I will, as I said now in the beginning of the live stream, only host those for the patrons of my channel and the YouTube members, as well as the staff members of the NPC HQ. Nirth, you can also get Pokemon Quest. Yeah, I actually have Pokemon Quest. I haven't played it much, but it seems fun. They'll help with all sorts of trades, and I've been reading translated novels on Wuxia World. I love the Shangxia genre. Probably pronounced that right. I have no idea what that is, Lord, but I'd love for you to either just give me a brief summary of what it is like. If not, I'll just have to look at it off stream, I guess. Yeah, the misses are fine. Man, the shiny Swoobat though. I love gold shinies. Like, massively. Hey, Steves, welcome to the live stream. Good to see you. Oh, I finally am not working for stream. Yeah, so typically I didn't get much into the schedule, but I think the days that are more convenient for me to live stream are Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. And I'll try to host 1 to 3 live streams a week. Something like that, for an hour to 2 hours, something like that. Like, consistently. Like, that's the plan I want to stick to now that I'm not on vacation. And yeah, you know, martial arts and all that, it's like a cultivation. They're translated from Korean or Chinese usually. Ooh, that sounds interesting. I have no idea what that is, but if it's like Jackie Chan book style, I'm into that. Yeah, this was a tree star. It's a 3-star combi. I'm just gonna one-shot it, get the Armorite ore, so I can sustain my profile, because apparently 7 Armorite ore can give you like hundreds of thousands of watts. Typically it's between 10 and 50, something like that. And so the watts you can buy wishing pieces for, or use with the digging duo as Final suggested. And yeah, it just works like that. Steve says, that sounds great. Yeah, it's fun. So I am on my mission here to find a shiny Wailord. The odds are not great, so I don't think I'm gonna get it, but with the 4-star raids and some of the 5-star raids, I will be hosting those. So You're a YouTube member, so you have access to the Nirtheart's chat on Discord, where I post my friend code and so on. RoboBlaster4, hey, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. Wait, you haven't seen the new expansion yet? Yeah, it's really cool. By not following, but by completing the story, then at some point Pokemon will follow you. It's a little... I think it's cool. Are my comments blocked, says Olivier. I don't think so, though if you include links or swear words, then they don't show up. Nirth, can I trade with you so I can evolve my Cantonian Slowbro? If you'd like to evolve your Pokemon, head over to the NPC HQ Discord server. Someone can help you there. I do believe that Lord Major Cone suggested you to go to the Discord server, so I will recommend you to do that. Typically, when I get asked these questions, I answer, and then they will repeatedly be asked, and so yeah, the Discord is the answer. Steve says, no, I got a Switch Lite, but lent it to a friend for a while. Oh, I understand. Hope you get it back soon. I feel... Oh, we got... yeah, you know what? Why not? Let's do this, right? There we go. Final Rush says, I'd be having a better day if I could get this shiny Moraine. Crossing my fingers for you. Flip side. Final. Yeah, I wish Flip side was here. I saw you got 2 of them with the wrong ability, with a 40% chance of getting the wrong ability, which makes it a 16% chance, which is rough. But you know, it happens. You asked me to trade my Mewtwo away to you? That was like a weird grammar sentence. No, I'm going to keep my Mewtwo. Caden says, how do you train how to talk to people? Oh, like how to be more social in the Discord, or just how to understand the customs of requesting a proper trade? So if it's the latter, if you would like to find a trade partner in the Discord, it's very, very important to be very clear, one, what you are looking for, and the abbreviation for that is LF, and you need to be very clear on what you can offer, what is for trade, FT, and then if it's very obvious and clear, then the last step is to be patient. So if it's just general, like how to know people, it's just to hang out in the general chat and just do some chatting, have some fun, talk about your day, things like that, and over time it will just go fine. Olivier says, Nirth, 800 eggs hatched for shiny Dino, Masuda Method plus shiny egg charm, and still carrying on though. Ooh, that's a lot of eggs. I wish you good luck with that, Olivier. 800 sounds like a lot, especially when the odds are 500, but maybe you can get it within 1000. I have the shiny Rockruff mission still. That will be happening the coming days. But the thing with that is I want to breed offline, but then I don't dare to because I don't want to hatch some other shiny Pokemon before the Rockruff, and so I hope I get it soon. I do have another live stream upcoming this week, actually. I want to finish training my competitive team for the next Sword and Shield competition, so that's going to be happening too. So Shiny Rockruff and the chill breeding. Pokemon trainer Daniel says, "Hey Nirth, hey, welcome to the live stream. Good to see you." I see Logan Hazeldine. Welcome. Good to see you as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kaden, you have to read the instructions in the agreement. Shadow Warrior, hey, welcome to the live stream. Good to see you. Steve says, I imagine Wailord at its base size correctly in game. Yeah, imagine the Wailord Dynamaxed. I think I figured out why they had to scale it down. Yeah, Pokemon scaling is difficult. Like, can you imagine the difference in volume of a Joltik and a Wailord? It's almost to the point where the size is so different. It's kind of weird to consider them Pokemon. Because, like, if you have a level 1 Wailord, I don't even know if that's possible. Probably not due to levels. But something like a level 40 Wailord and a 100 or level 100 Joltik that is EV trained with choice specs and just thunder it one shot, it makes no sense for a little spider to take out a gigantic whale in one shot. But yeah, Final Rush says, I got an unintentional shiny Dino recently. Hydreigon is a good mon, but my god, is the really? You think the shiny is ugly? Whoa, we got a bottle cap. I think shiny Hydreigon is pretty cool, actually. The purple and green looks pretty epic, in my opinion. Olivia says, is this a good deal with my cousin? I trade him a shiny Shiftry and a shiny Gengar for shiny Piloswine. I personally am strongly against 2-for-1 trades, but you can have at it. Yeah, let's invite others. Logan says, it's been a while, Nirth. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm doing good. Just went on a vacation. Then I spent some time trying to put together a new routine for myself because school is starting in 2 weeks, at least for me. And so, yeah, now I'm back at it. Oh, you got it last night before bed? Was a little mad about it. Yeah, it'd be like that. It's green and purple. Such a bad color combo, especially with that shade of green. I think it's awesome. So I'm glad that Game Freak is able to make some shiny Pokemon with yeah, you know what? I'm gonna give it some more seconds. Yeah. Well, I feel like for there to be shiny Pokemon that people can have as their favorites, then naturally there have to be some shiny Pokemon that other people don't like, but yeah. Steve says, Dynamaxed Wailord without the scale down in size would probably be bigger than Celadon City. Yeah, I think you got a good point there. It's pretty massive. Have you seen it though? Like you said that you hadn't seen much of the Isle of Armor. And actually in the ocean, there is the potential for a Wailord to spawn in the water. Real scale. It's massive. Yeah, right. So this event is ending in less than 6 hours, something like that. I think it's about 5. I haven't gotten the time correctly, but 5 or 6 hours. Hey, the shiny Hydreigon. Olivier says, I trade 2-for-1 because his Piloswine is shiny 4-star Ivy, and I can evolve it easily into a Mamoswine. Well, I personally think that trades should be balanced in other ways than that, but I guess if it's your cousin, you can at least make sure that you actually get the shiny you're interested in, and maybe you'll figure out how to do those trades. Steve says, oh my god, I want to see that now. It's funny. Yeah, just look up what the Wailord is. That Wailord in the Isle of Armor Ocean is so cool. I agree. I really like that they are making the games more expressive and trying to incorporate the Pokemon in the overworld. Logan says, I haven't got the Isle of Armor. I'm thinking of getting it when the Crown Tundra comes out as a pair. Well, if you get it at the same time as the Crown Tundra, then you'll have a lot to play through. Not story-wise, but I felt like the Isle of Armor kept me busy for, or will keep me busy rather, for a while. I feel like the wild area that was introduced now with the Isle of Armor is just what I wanted in Sword and Shield. I feel like it's one of those things that were not lacking, but after playing Sword and Shield, I was hoping there would be some more wild area, and it's now coming ×2, so yeah. Can't wait for Crown Tundra. I'll finally have a Groudon back. Yeah, that's awesome. It'll be fun to do some more legendary hunting. You're better off getting it now so you're not playing catch up. Yeah, especially if you're gonna pay $30 at some point anyway. So, all this talk about the sea, anyone else really missing Manty? Manty and Surf? I don't miss it. I got it, I got Manty and Surf right in here. My 3DS. I can go back. You know what I was thinking about on that note? Wait, I confused you? No, just go to the agreement chat and read. There's a category of chat called Read Me. I have to spend some minutes just looking at it. Mantine Surf was cool. Mantine Surf is cool. It still exists. It's in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's never too late to pick up the games again. I'm playing it on my 3DS right now. So on that note, I was thinking the other day that I had this conversation with a friend some time ago, and essentially my friend predicted the Switch like years before it happened, exactly the concept and why it would be popular, and it was just like spot on. It was great, and we were like wondering what would happen with the 3DS, and I'm thinking now, like, I feel like there are some parts of the 3DS that are really cool. Like, I think, well, the Switch does have cartridges, but I feel like with the 3DS itself could have been better put together so that it would actually be some interesting looking games that could be displayed in 3D. I don't know if there are some like technological challenges with making the pixels a little more off, but and also the RAM inside for the frame rate to actually work. So for example, double battles in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon, they don't work, they're laggy, things like that. But I just wonder, like, with the 2-screen concept, I think it would be interesting to see if Nintendo would go and make a revisited kind of pocket device with 2 screens, because I feel like they really much perfected that format with 2 screens, pocket possibility, and just cartridge games that you can have the save file onto the cartridge itself so that you can just swap it in between the consoles. I see there are some benefits with the Sword and Shield not having that as a thing, but at the same time it's kind of annoying when I have multiple systems and so on. But yeah, I wonder if they at some point will make like a 2-screen device that has increased specs. I know, it was bottle cap. That was awesome. It was like 2 times in a row. Skywalker says, anyone got a foreign Ditto for trade? I would head over to the NPC HQ Discord server, and there we have a trade chat called Language Trades, and essentially you can request there. The soundtrack was amazing for Mantine Surf. I know, it's really epic. It's like, yeah, it's one of the best themes in all of Pokemon, and we just got that in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon. Linus says, the 3DS and the 2DS are great consoles. You can get them and the games really cheap now too. I know, and I did just that. I bought a Pikachu Edition 2DS XL quite recently. And I'm also thinking about getting a new US console, because then essentially I have the capture card that is US, and having the cartridges that you can put together. Wait, I don't know what happened. That was weird. Maybe it was one of the players that did sketchy stuff. Yeah, but essentially I have a Japanese console that works. It's a 2DS bought used in Tokyo that works. And then yeah, I recently got a European 3DS or a 2DS XL, and then I have a few US games too. Region lock, am I right? You know what? I don't think. Oh, I actually don't have a choice, so I'm just gonna wait and see if anyone would join me. But Lord says, sorry, I was dropping my roommate off at work. I'm back for all your moderation needs. Thank you very much, Lord. I hope that your roommate will be having a good time at work. Final Rush says, speaking of cheaper games, I was at the store the other day and I saw Sword and Shield marked down to $50 instead of $60. That's strange. That's weird. Pokemon games are never set down like that, but that has probably more to do with the store itself than anything else. Like, I once bought a sealed copy of Pokemon X for $10 inside a store, and they were going bankrupt like a few weeks later, so they just wanted to sell things off for dirt cheap, essentially. But yeah, when it comes to cheap games, like, man, the 3DS is still great. I think, as much as it is sad that they're like, we have moved on, they could have revised it, and I personally hope that they will at some point. I like having a small double screen Nintendo system that I can just put in my pocket. The Switch is too big for that. And yeah, so I'll be carrying around my 3DSs for a while, especially with Pokemon. I feel like Pokemon on the 3DS may be the better Pokemon experience, even now with Sword and Shield. Because essentially, all the hackers have now moved on to the new generation, and Generation 7 and Generation 6 is now left alone. So I look forward to be more active in the trading club with Gen 6 and Gen 7, especially considering the 3DS's capabilities of playing all the regions, essentially, except Galar. You can have the Virtual Console experience with Gen 1 and 2. You can play Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. You get Gen 3. You have the DS Retro capability where you can play Sinnoh in Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. And, of course, you've got Black and White. Then you have X and Y with Gen 7, and Sun, Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. So, with Pokemon Bank, I hope that they will continue that for a long while longer. Like, it is $5. I have it paid on like 3 consoles, and I think a lot of other passionate wait, Diamond and Pearl like $110? I don't believe that 1 second. The only problem, though, is that there are so many counterfeit old Pokemon cards. No, cartridges, sorry. Yeah, just counterfeit Pokemon games. But, yeah, if you wanted new, then it's like $150 apparently. But used? Is it really that expensive? $80 used? That's weird. I have personally been starting to collect some sealed 3DS games. That sounds weird, but it's just one of those things. They don't produce them anymore. And at some point the eShop will stop working. And then you can't just buy a digital copy of Pokemon whatever. And I think that's going to be interesting. So, especially when people are already fire sailing their Pokemon moons and whatnot, gonna pick them up. So I bought, for example, a used copy of Pokemon Omega Ruby. I paid $15 for it. Someone just didn't think it would sell, and it is a very underrated game. I think people will look back at Oras and play it again and realize, like, man, the experience of playing Oras as a Pokemon experience is pretty great. The music, the atmosphere, just the format, it's very true to what Pokemon is, in my opinion. And yeah, there's no reason to ask for moderator if anyone did that. Yeah, but apparently, but it makes sense though. Just inflation. They've been out for what, 14 years? It's a 5% increase, I think. I don't remember what math I would have to do in my head to make that make sense, but yeah. For it to be double what they were sold for, makes perfectly sense for me if it's this long since. I really miss the old game corners. Yeah, they'd be like that. Linus says, speaking of Oras, the primal battle theme slaps. Right, I agree. There are a lot of cool themes. Not to mention the Elite Four theme. What else? I don't know. I like a lot of Pokemon games. It's a purple beam. Let's do it. Ready to battle. X and Y were hard for me. Actually, people don't realize that Pokemon is such a knowledge-based game that once you have figured it out, played Pokemon for a little bit, like, the difficulty of Pokemon will never be there in completing the story, like, no matter what. It's just based on the concept of the game. Like, you have to work for it. Like, you have to do some battles, you have to do some wild encounters every now and then to get the level that you need, but essentially you can just level out your opponent and you win. Hard to believe it's been 18 years since Ruby and Sapphire came out, heck, in 2002. Yeah, it's crazy. Like 14 years since Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Like, I bought those games in the store when they came out, and I was like, these are some good looking games. And that was back when I was, what, almost 10? Something like that. Everyone's first Pokemon game will usually be the hardest. Yeah, but it's just, it's like that. You have the type weakness chart, you have all the different moves with the symbols, physical, special, base, power, things like that. They don't always just make sense out of nowhere. So yeah. Hoenn Champion theme was the stuff, I agree. Hard to believe, yeah, it's a long time. Groudon is my favorite Pokemon, and I swear I got chills when I saw Primal Groudon in the reversion cutscene. Yeah, man. For me, that is Kyogre, Kyogre, who knows? With the primal reversion of that, I miss Alpha Sapphire. I have been playing Omega Ruby recently because obviously I got it for Steel, $22 including shipping. But yeah, I'm hoping to get a copy of Alpha Sapphire at some point so that I can well, I do have one. It's sealed. I got that one as a Steel too, so I want to open it. But yeah, there's something about Alpha Sapphire, like the intro screen more, and just the overall atmosphere with the story. So Steve says, yeah, you're a pretty hardcore fan if you've been playing since Red, Blue, Yellow. Yeah, right. There are a few people who have played since Red, Blue, and Yellow, and have played the games properly since then. But it's one of those things you have to be a little thoughtful around how you play the games for it to actually be interesting over so many generations. Lord Major Cohen says, especially the earlier gens where we couldn't just Google things and watch videos online. Right? You know what? One of the reasons why I started to make how-to videos was because I remember the struggle of playing Pokemon back in Gen 4. Like, it was hard. Did anyone else literally study the manual to translate the Braille to the Regis in Gen 3? Or was I the only one? I have no idea. I never played Gen 3 of the original games too much. I bought Pokemon Sapphire off a friend, but I actually ended up selling that some years later to pay for my computer. Man, I wish I had not sold those games, but it's at that point in time it was more like I figured I thought if I sold all my games I would get enough money, obviously, to get the computer, but I would also not get distracted from the games. But that's not how things work. I just got distracted with other things instead. So yeah, essentially now that I'm making at least a little bit from making videos and not all that, I'm trying to build back some of the collections I had of games before I started this whole YouTube thing. Man, I don't want to do another. I'm just gonna reset it. I'm tired of Vespiquen. Yeah, because I had a lot of Pokemon games, especially for the 3DS, that I had even bought myself directly from the store, no used. I had like 6 copies of Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. It was nuts. I had many copies of Pokemon X and Y. I had the old Game Boy games, things like that. Steve says, the blind language in the dots, the game manual literally had a Braille alphabet, and you could use it to translate the text. Really? That's insane. I had no idea. That's some cool trivia. I was not there to experience it. Unless I pay, what, $400 to get a copy of Pokemon Ruby? Linus says, I love the various layers to the primal theme, the parts with an emphasis on bass, the various sections from the original Ruby and Sapphire battle, incredible theme. Agreed. Man, like, I feel like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire are incredible remakes. Like, those just enhance what those first games were about, and I feel like they did it in a really good job. So whatever happens next, we had Fire Red, Leaf Green, we had Heart Gold, Soul Silver, had a Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Whatever the Sinnoh remix will be, I am perfectly in the belief that, I don't even know if that makes sense, but I think that Game Freak will do a great job with those games too. Stand still and wait for time to pass twice. You may catch your Regice. That was the translation. Yeah, remember there were some weird things like bring a Corsola and some Pokemon and then magically something happens. It was like one of those things where it was actually part of the game, but if it had not ended up working, it would have been just like one of the, like, Pokemon used to be so filled with myths and like, oh yeah, if you do this, then this will happen. And then there would be like videos on YouTube of like crazy things you would do, like go into this house, throw away 4 repels, and then you go up this, and then somehow a magic legendary Pokemon is just gonna pop out of nowhere. But yeah, Super Gamer, hey, welcome to the live stream. Cylinder, hey, welcome. Casey, good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, the nostalgia for those old games is real. So with this, with these raids, the overall goal, as mentioned in the title of the live stream, is to find the shiny Wailord. The actual chance of finding the shiny Wailord though is pretty low. So essentially, I'm just gonna run around on this island and look for it. But I'll do the 3-star raids myself. The 4-star raids I'll invite my patrons, YouTube members to. And then if I by chance now within the next 50 minutes find a shiny Wailord, I'll stick to the whole YouTube members, patrons, and PCHQ staff invites only. So Steve says, I loved Super Secret Bases or Secret Bases. I was so sad that they were not in every game, mixing records with a 4-way link cable, having your friend bases in your game. Yeah, though to some extent, I'm starting to understand Game Freak a little more, because obviously there are a million ways they can do things differently. But at the same time, it's their intellectual property. Like, it's their universe, essentially, that they are putting their life's work into. And if this is the way they want it, I can give it a chance. If I like it, I'll stick around. And so far, I've liked the games I've played so far. And even if there are games in the future I don't like, that's fine too. If they decide on going on some direction, I may just end up not getting the games. But up until Isle of Armor, like, I am personally very happy with what they're making. And so, having said that, I also value having a collection of games myself, and having some special features in each of these games when they make almost yearly games, I think is perfectly fine. Like, even Mega Evolutions that I think are so interesting and fun, I know they're a little detrimental to the competitive scene of things because they're really strong, but having that option to go back into Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and play some more, and now with the capabilities of having my Discord server, I can revive some of those games in there, hopefully, if there are other players that are also interested. That to me is really cool, because essentially now with the 3DS especially, we have access to 7 generations on one console. It's insane. Through Pokemon Bank, it really amplifies that. So when August rolls around and I get a chance to now study real good, and then have the new strategy keep me accountable to actually study enough, then I'll get access to that 2DS that I talked about earlier. That's the deal there. And essentially, I have Pokemon Bank in there. I got a lot of the Virtual Console games on there as well. And then over time, just I'll really work on the Pokemon Bank collection and just having a good time with Pokemon. So yeah, those were some of my thoughts. Steve says, I don't think I have disliked a single main series Pokemon game. The massive drop of Pokemon in Sword and Shield did bother me, but having tried it, made the best competitive scene so far, in my opinion. Yeah, not just the competitive scene, but can you imagine though? Now that it's kind of like this. So what I had in mind the moment I understood this was, first of all, having over 1,000 creatures with various forms, etc., with moves, with base stats, with everything to take into consideration, it's too complex. It makes no sense on a game development standpoint. It's not just about the animations, but like, how do you balance and make a game? More is not always better, and so that's part of it. But the other part is just having 1,000 Pokemon does not increase the value of the game, in my opinion, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why that is and why I believe it. When I was a kid, we had like a small kid, we had a few toys, not a lot, but we had an okay amount of toys. But essentially what my parents did that was very smart, with a few toys that we actually had, they locked most of them inside a room. And essentially, they made us... Oh, that was so close. Yeah, but essentially, they made us have only a chosen 2 or 3 toys at a time. And that was it. And then I think it was once a week, once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. Essentially, when we started finding those toys interesting anymore, then after a while we were allowed to go back into the room and leave those boring toys there and take out some old new toys. And essentially what that made us was, they essentially made us interested in those toys because they had been on the shelf for like 3 months, and for a kid it's like 3 months is a long time. So when we then changed things back and forth like that, with the majority of the toys being locked within a door, then it created like an essentially much more interesting dynamic there with the toys that we actually have. Because if all of the toys were just laying around in the bedroom anyway, then it's a way different experience. And I feel like that's part of what Game Freak has done here. With 400 Pokemon instead of 1,000, once we get access to those other Pokemon, because they're not going to just never feature them again, then I think we'll have a lot more fun with those. So I did miss Volcarona. Now Volcarona is back. I'm very excited about it. And now with the various Pokedexes, they can do competitions. For example, as the upcoming competition this weekend, or when it is, I think it's next weekend. Something like that. I think it's next week. I don't remember, but whenever the next competition is, they can just have a very defined Pokedex that says these 200 Pokemon have they thought maybe can make a fun mini competitive scene, and then they're just going to feature that in a competition. Things like that. Final Rush says, honestly, people complain about there being bloat and too many Pokemon now, yet Game Freak introduced even more forms, including 63 cosmetic variants of a single Pokemon. Like what? Yeah, it's odd. It's odd because people don't realize before they critique that they're one person with one opinion that very likely will be very different than other people. And what that And what that essentially creates is that if there are 20 million Pokemon fans actively playing Pokemon games right now, then for everything that one can agree or disagree with, there's another like subcategory of people who would like the games to be a certain way. And that goes on indefinitely. And so at some point, Game Freak just has to make the decisions of like, okay, this is how we would like the games to be, and it's how they're going to make the games, and that's all what it is to it. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Especially, yeah, I feel like around Gen 5, people were really complaining about, man, I remember the 151 days. Why are there 600 now? And it's like, okay, well, some people want more Pokemon. Other people now complain about there being too many. And especially when it comes to like, oh, but I want to complete the Pokedex, but I don't want to do that with like 721 Pokemon like there were in Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which is also why it makes those games really fun. You can have all the Pokemon in that game if you want. It's actually the last time you saw a National Dex, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that was just all off your one comment, Steve. That's funny. And a little bit of final, of course. Roboblaster 4 says, breeding for a 5 IV Axew is tough, especially when the IVs don't want to pass down. And when they do, it isn't the right ones. Well, it's just one of those things. You have to play the game for a fair bit. You have to work for your Dittos. Then you can work on some proper breeding pairs, and then those will just come over time because you just increase your odds ever so slightly every time you take a proper step in the right direction. The main downside is that when people's favorites don't make it into a game, I can understand how it sucks for them. Well, I can see how if Volcarona, if Espeon, if Togekiss, if Lopunny, if Garchomp, if Staraptor, if all my favorite Pokemon didn't make it into the new game. Like, I can understand that not being so fun, but at the same time, it's just an invitation to get familiar with some other Pokemon. Like, I saw complaints on Twitter when that whole Dex drama happened of people being like, I've played with Trico every single game since Ruby and Sapphire in 2002, like always. And then it's like, okay, well, if there are nearly 1,000 Pokemon and you've only played with one Pokemon this whole time, like, you either are doing something wrong, or maybe you could try something new to see if you like it. Because I probably have like 50 to 200 Pokemon I really like, and if I can't have half of them for the time being, and I get to play the other half, it's just that toy room mechanic that I talked about earlier, like a few minutes ago. I'm just gonna be more happy when it's literally an enforced incentive, or like, what would you call that? I don't even know what else to compare it to, but it's like if you have two desserts, like a good chocolate cake and what else? A carrot cake. If you could have both cakes every day, every week, then that's way different than having a proper cake on Saturdays and every other cake every other week. So, you know, Handbone, hi, F in the chat. That's funny. And it's only 892 Pokemon if you don't count alternate forms of anything. Yeah, it'd be like that. Pokemon is also a massive game with so many different play styles, which is a good thing, but it does create a divide. You can try using the Destiny Knot. 5 IV should never take that long. Yeah. I'm personally fine with the amount of Pokemon in Sword and Shield. The game got other problems that's bigger than that. Yeah. To my knowledge, the biggest complaint with Sword and Shield is the varying degree of quality in like the graphic style and story wise. So just varying degrees of quality, that it's, you know, very different. And then the other is just Game Freak has done a lot of quality of life changes, and in that process they have also sacrificed part of passionate collectors' collections. So essentially, for example, for Final Rush, when they just hand out Safari Balls now in Sword and Shield, then like, what's the point of sending Pokemon all the way over from Ruby Sapphire and Heart Gold Soul Silver? Well, I don't know if it works actually from... It must be Heart Gold Soul Silver, am I right? Am I doing something wrong there? Because prior generations will only be Pokeball? I don't know when trivia enough, but essentially, like, if you have a good collection in one generation, if everything now is just free with Gen 8, then it makes it not worth it to actually send much over. So yeah, those are the two things that I've spotted that are valid complaints in my opinion. What are the problems you think the game has? Yeah, I went on a tangent on that. Nils, yeah, no, I agree now. I admit I was a bring back national dex person before, but having played the game enough, I do prefer it. It's way too much if the dex is any bigger than 400. Gen 3 had Safari Balls as well. Yeah, so, but can you literally transfer up a Gen 3 Safari Ball all the way up to Sword and Shield? Or is it just with the Virtual Console that the Pokeballs get weirds? Get weirds, yeah. English. Having a Game Boy with leaf green is something I always wanted. I may actually get it this semester. I've decided with myself that if I so I have this plan where I'm gonna set aside a strict amount of hours that I want to study at least every week, and so if I do that, I've set up a little basket of rewards for myself so that I can just keep at it, because it's gonna be tough to now just study from home essentially and all that. But yeah, so I'm gonna give myself some extra or some dedicated money towards fun things. And I wonder if I should just work up and really save for that. Well, it may actually be a Nintendo DS Lite instead with leaf green, but I imagine something like that being a lot of fun. The item itself, no, but you can transfer mons in the balls already. Some are exclusive to Gen 3, like Heracross, Pikachu, Pinsir, Scyther, etc. Wait, can't you now catch a Safari Ball Pikachu? Or do you mean like in between? Oh, I'm so confused on this topic. Yeah, I'm aware you can't transfer items, but I just wondered if somehow that minigame of catching the Pokemon again across generations would make it so that the Pokeball would like not send over. But maybe I'm confusing it with breeding. Oh, I need to stop thinking about these things. I'm confusing myself during the live stream. It's like when I have battle live streams, I get so just, is it called lightheaded? When you just don't not understand but remember anything. I'm like, I'm looking at the Pokemon, I've seen them a million times before, and then I'm like, God, what's the name? Nils Shevak says, Steve's, I personally think the story is weak. I don't think I could bring myself to replay Sword and Shield. The graphics are also not up to standards, and I'm not a fan of Dynamaxing. I miss Mega Evolutions. That's fair. I miss Megas too, but as a competitive battler, Megas were boring because everyone knew what was being Mega Evolved. Dynamax makes competitive more interesting, however. I really miss Megas too. We're getting Megas in Pokemon Go, I think. Yeah. But I personally can't have myself to play battles and Go. I feel like if I talk more about it, I'm gonna sound like a real downer, but I just the tapping on screens I do not like. I think if they make somehow like, well, they kind of have now with Pokemon Unite, but just a real-time Pokemon experience. Joshua, hey, welcome to the live stream. You were in between the whole like conversation here. But like a real-time Pokemon battle system, I think that could work if they make it properly. But other than that, I'm pretty fine with the turn-based combat system. I don't even remember why I went off on that, but I mean, before they reintroduced Safari Balls with the DLC, Gen 3 Safari Zone was the only way to get those Pokemon that I just listed. Oh, I understand. Right. Man, I remember you talked a lot about how you've been playing the Safari Zone a lot. Also, graphics never make the game, especially when it comes to Nintendo. That should be the lowest of your priorities. I agree. They have just had that as a thing always, with the exception of some cool like graphical features, such as the 3D function of the 3DS, which is really cool if you think about it, and the touchscreen actually of the DS. That was some early stuff. Pokemon Go missed a massive opportunity to have turn-based combat, I think. Unless they did it on purpose to appeal to the mobile gamers. I don't know how to comment on that. Obviously, they wanted the games to be different. It's a mobile game, and these are the console main series games, but Goldie says, hey Nirth, I have a Zoroark Purple Raiden. That's awesome. I wish you good luck with raiding. If you would like some raid partners, you can consider to head over to the NPC HQ Discord and request some help in raid together. But in these live streams, I raid together with my YouTube patrons. YouTube patrons, that's funny. YouTube members, patrons, and the staff of the NPC HQ. The reason being that adding friend codes is a mess. It just doesn't work. It takes too long. Yeah, I think, well, I think what is interesting to talk about there is not just, I feel like graphics kind of forgets art style. I feel like art style is a big thing in there that has to be mentioned at some point too, because there's a big difference between the 3D Pokemon games and the 2D experience. And so even though technically the graphics in Heart Gold Soul Silver are not as good as Sword and Shield, obviously we got 3D models and 1080p and things like that. It is important to consider the art style, and I do think that when you first decided on making things appear in a certain way, that you kind of have to play within that framework that you set up. So for example, I know this is a dead example, but the trees in the old wild area, it I don't know why they did it like that. It makes no sense. It's just weird. And some of the battle backgrounds, like in Route 1, you can literally see like a very rough pixely thing with parts of the background. It's odd. And like in the cities where if you fish in the river in the city, then all of a sudden it looks like the background in Route 3 in like forest area, and it just it breaks the frame of reference and the reality framework that they have set for the game. So there are some topics within graphics actually. So while graphical output with like 1080p and flashy shading and 60 frames per second, things like that. But I do think art style is something to consider. I think we can do this on our own. But yeah, we've been looking for, or I've been looking for this on my own before the live stream, and then we have been looking for this together now for over an hour, 70 minutes. I don't know if we're gonna get shiny Wailord. Like, I think you pretty much would have had to have a group and look for shiny Wailord like mad this whole weekend if you wanted one. So I guess we just missed the mark. Amused Cat says, love your streams. Thank you very much. I'm glad to hear that you are having a great time here. And Martin, hey, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, I not been as talkative, I guess, as typically, but it's sometimes good to just not be all that pumped up every live stream. Steve says, I'll never forget in Generation 2 when we beat Claire and went back into Kanto for the first time and no one had internet or guides, so it was a massive surprise. Probably my favorite Pokemon game moment. Right. I had that with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I don't know. I think I don't remember properly. I'm pretty sure I didn't know the whole 2 region thing in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and it was just like, wait, you can just take the train over to a new region? So much so that I was like constantly looking in like Gen 5 with the train stations, like where's the next region that I can just take my train to? And X and Y, like I think, I don't know if those videos are public still, but I made videos back in the day in like 2016 talking about, no, 15? Yeah, it must have been in 2015 or maybe 2016 actually. Like old school Nirth essentially, talking about how they could make like Pokemon Z. This is how they can tie in another region and like have 2 regions in one game. Which we kind of are getting now with the Isle of Armor, I guess. Like, the Isle of Armor is pretty big. If the Crown Tundra is twice as big as this, it's pretty much 2 regions in one. Controversial opinion, probably, but Lord Major Cone says, dang it, didn't connect to the internet fast enough to join into that raid. Ooh, I'm sorry. We're probably gonna find another one, Lord. So, yeah, just hang in there. Yeah, but how are you doing, Martin? Hope you're having a great day. Had a pretty chill live stream so far. I'm just so I thought the odds of getting the shiny Wailord was 1 in 20 purple beams, but essentially you don't find them in purple beams, and it's 2% within the 5-star raids that are within the event. So essentially it's not 2%, it's not even close. So unless I've done some fundamental mistakes in my you know, math around the odds, I don't think we're gonna find it. Like, we would have literally had to, what would you call that, pool the odds and like have a group of people just running around and trying to find it, and then when one person find it, then everyone gets it, obviously. But it seems actually now with the Armorite ore that you can quite sustainably just continuously raid for a long time, because every 7 Armorite ore is an opportunity to get some watts. And then with watts, you can either go with Digungdio and get some rare bones, as Final Rush noted in the beginning of the live stream, or just trade 3,000 watts for wishing pieces. So unless there is something going on with the dojo house that I haven't looked into. But yeah, Martin says, I actually hatched my Dino like a week ago after 1,229 eggs. That's funny. We actually just discussed Shiny Dino. I was on the side of thinking Shiny Dino is epic. And a lot of people in the chat here are like, no, that green-purple combo with the black, no liking. Oh, you like my hoodie? Thank you. Actually, that made me want to spoil something. Give me 1 second. So essentially, the hoodie that I'm wearing now is, I think, yeah, it's Game Boy Luke's merch. I never watched Game Boy Luke all that much, but I saw Glitch X City had one of these back in like 2015, something like that, so I figured I wanted one. And then it's just been in good condition since then. So I've been wearing it, but I got my own in the mail recently. I hope the print is good. Like, that would be so disappointing if it was like a bad print. It's got a scratch on it. I haven't looked at this myself. Like, I just opened the package, so let's see now. Got a big Nirtheart. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got, unfortunately, like a mark here. I wonder how the t-shirt is like. This is the test run, I suppose. You can't get these now, actually, because it was like a limited thing with Teespring. It lasted for 3 weeks, I think, and then it wanted me to set it up again, but essentially it's not as, what would I say, it's not as dense. Like it has like a lot of air inside, but I guess that's just how it is with prints, I guess. But from a distance, looks pretty cool. It's a Nirtheart, and yeah, this is the organic made too. So I'll be wearing the Nirtheart. I'll just put these inside here. Like that. Yeah, the Nirtheart. That's cool. It smells really strongly of like vinegar or something. Hey, looking good, says Nilshavai. The Nirtheart hoodie. Hey, thank you. Manoy, welcome. Martin says, well, I see why people don't like the shiny, but I really wanted one for the Unova vibes, and I'm too crazy to hunt in those games. Right, that took me a time to like put together or understand. Michael, hey, welcome to the live stream. Good to see you. Yeah, so yeah, with the odds back in Gen 5, Those were crazy. 1 in 8,000, 192, I believe. And I don't know if the Masuda method was all that popular back then, or available really. I'm thinking about getting Pokemon White too, Japanese at some point. Like the Legend of Zelda Hearth? Or Heart? Yeah, it's the Nirtheart. Alright, so essentially I got 15 more minutes with this live stream. The goal has been to find a shiny Wailord that is part of a short event that Game Freak is hosting in the wild area. And essentially the chance of actually finding a shiny Wailord in these events, or in the raids really, is fairly low. Apparently there is a 5% chance of the 5-star raids. No, it's a 2% chance within the 5-star raids, within the event, odds of getting it, and it's just stupid low. So, yeah, here we go, Lord. Hope you're here. I'm gonna see if I can tag you. So, some interesting new info just came out regarding the DLC, and boy, am I not happy. What happened? What is it? I'm interested. I'm typically not all that interested in leaks and things like that, but you know, I think this DLC is pretty interesting, but with it being this long until anyway, probably will have forgotten it by the time it comes out. I don't know. I have mixed feelings around those things, but I'm guessing that you're typing a message about it now, Final. If not, I'll have to ping you somewhere afterwards. Oh, okay. That works. Oh, you gotta go? No problem, Super Gamers. Hope you're having a great day. Or I wish you a great day. So we've got the Vespiquen. I like that Mewtwo can learn so many moves. I just slapped on it some electric moves, and that would work both for the water event as well as the beast here on Honeycomb Island. You did the same on your Mew? Yeah, it's really funny. Well, Mew can learn absolutely everything. Is it the same with Mewtwo? I haven't looked up actually. That is the fact. were the case. I've been playing so much RuneScape lately, it's scary. I know, every time I've been online on Discord, I see you're online playing some RuneScape. Do you like it? Like, what kind of RuneScape are you playing? That's probably a very weird question, but I've understood that there's something called old school RuneScape, that there are different versions. Really? Whoa, someone subscribed. Taylor, thank you very much. If you're here in the chat, say hello. If not, you're probably watching a video somewhere. Wait, what just happened? No, Mewtwo can learn a lot, but I don't think it can learn everything like Mew. Yeah, makes sense. I've played since 02. Yeah. OS, old school RuneScape. There's only one RuneScape. There's old school RuneScape, or there is a disaster #arrogance. Hey, Lamau. I have it on my phone. I forget about it though. RuneScape used to be my jam back in the day. What's your RuneScape number maybe? I'm about to look it up right now. Yeah, Final was playing some RuneScape. Man, I saw the message Final and that made me sad. It actually I think that's the final straw for me when it comes to having a serious collection in modern Pokemon games. I'm gonna play them still, gonna have fun, but I think that is for me now what was for you when Gen 8 happened. And I'm probably gonna go back. Casey, thank you for subscribing. Say hello if you're in the chat. But yeah, especially hunting for hidden abilities is something I find very enjoyable because it's not free. You have to work for it in older games, that is. And so I guess if this is the direction that they want the games, then as I did with the rant earlier, then that's up to them. But I for sure will treasure my Beast Ball Living Dex collection in Ultra Sun Ultra Moon much more than whatever they can offer me in modern games. Rush, that account is insane. I got max gear excluding Infernal Cape and Scythe lol. Steve's FTW is my Iron Man, but it's F2P and I have not played much. The Inferno is literally the hardest thing I have ever seen in gaming. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds crazy. No problem, Lord. Glad I could help you with that. I didn't really catch, or look at rather, the items that we got from this raid with the Vespiquen. Man, I'm slow. But some of them gave us bottle caps. That was pretty cool. But yeah. Casey says, Nirth, you the same Pokemon? I don't know what that means, Casey. You'll have to retype a message. If you ever get free time, Nirth, YouTube RuneScape Infernal. Honestly, it makes Dark Souls look so easy. I accepted I am never doing it in my life. Okay. YouTube RuneScape Infernal. Is that the same as Inferno? I've gotten quite a few bottle caps so far. Yeah. Man, items are just like... Though... but flip side, one note though, with Sword and Shield Generation 8... with an ability capsule like that, I guess that we kind of now have the Pokemon simulator that we kind of thought would be an event, what would you say? An eventuality? Whoa! Yeah, Lord, that was not needed. Thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate it. Lord became a Nirtheart member and asks a token of appreciation. I'm gonna do 10 jumps for you back in the room here. So Lord Major Cone, one of my dear admins in the NPC HQ, that server had literally not been there if it was not for the effort from Lord Major Cone and the rest of the admins. So thank you very much for all the hard work and you know, efforts for the overall community. It's become quite the server over the years. But yeah, I didn't realize I couldn't just stealth my way in. No, you'd have to do that off stream. I'm actually super mad about that tweet. It makes no sense to have such... When breeding is a thing, it makes no sense to have such an item. Like it... But it just turns Sword and Shield into a semi-battle simulator at this point. Like, everything's free. You have to accept it. You have to do a little bit of time into breeding. But if you want to be serious about collecting Pokemon, I don't know if you can do that in Gen 8 anymore. Like, it's like you're getting my live reaction here, I guess, with that kind of announcement, or like sneaky game digging. But yeah, well, at the very least, I'm not gonna share any of my Beast Ball Beldum with anyone, except you, of course. But like, yeah, like what's the point? If you want an actual rare Beast Ball, Hidden Ability Beldum is not rare in the sense that it's really good and you kind of have to spend a lot of time getting it, but it's just one of those things that are really difficult to get, and now you can just catch a Beldum, just any Beldum, with a Beast Ball, which is a lot easier, and then just use one of those. But wait, hang on. Does that pass down in breeding? Is that how it works? It does work, right? With the ability capsule. The ability capsule and... Yeah, I get those things confused. So bottle caps and mints do not pass down, but do ability capsules pass down as well? But yeah, 10 jumps for Lord Major Cone. Ooh. I actually worked out pretty intensely earlier today, so those jumps were harder than I may have shown. Okay, let's let's jump back into the game. But yeah, thank you for putting together such an awesome community that we can all be part of and love being a part of. Yeah, thank you for wanting to be a part of that, Lord. Yeah, I think it's one step at a time. Ooh. I hope you didn't hear that. That was essentially... yeah, you know what? I don't think there's much time left for any more raids, so... let's just have an outro here, really. Let's jump back into the camera. But yeah, I was suspecting that they would make that item at some point, honestly. But, it is a real bummer. Like, hidden abilities... Like, I even talked about in this live stream, like, hidden abilities are literally the only thing left in Pokemon. And now it's not, so... I think we'll have to do some changes to the Pokemon Plus category at some point. Because... yeah, we really just need to see if we can cast a net and capture some of the more passionate players that still play the 3DS games, because that's where the Pokemon collecting really is at. Missile says, your channel is dead. That's funny. Yeah, I just went on a short break and we're doing some random raids, and you know, typically these live streams have like 40 viewers. Today it's been around 20, 25, so it's fine. But if you want to waste your day just dropping mean comments, then that's good on you. Lord Major Cone says, they're the same community, Patrick, so I'll accept that they're both awesome. Yeah, thank you for the positivity, Lord. I really appreciate it. Ability Capsule does not work. The ability capsules aren't a superficial change like hyper training, so it should pass down. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll think about that after the stream. But yeah, essentially, yeah, did the jumps. Thank you for becoming a YouTube member, Lord. Steve says, I can never understand people that type unproductive stuff like that. It is what it is. Like, honestly, you have to have it pretty sucky with yourself to actually waste your time by going into random live chats and just like dropping stuff. But I mean, one thing is, like, if it had actually been correct, then there might have been something to talk about there, but the channel's not dead. Like, it's so obvious. If you look at my Social Blade, I've had one of my best months, like, ever. And it's just the format that I've decided to go on. Like, obviously, this live stream has been a little less energetic. I'll work on that for the next time. And also to be a little more on, I guess. I felt a little, like, sleepy, but it's just one of those things. But what I wanted to say is, got 1,500 videos and almost 1 million views every month. And so it's not even correct. And so for a person like this to spend this much time not fixing their own life, messing around in the chat like this, it's weird. It's not even worth it for us to talk this much about it, but understanding or understandable, Major Cone, just a lot more active on Versus. Yeah, so it's weird like that. It actually, is a lot of members who just stick around in one of the servers, but maybe they'll change in the future. But yeah, so essentially, at the end here, I wanted to say that I am aiming to do 1 to 3 live streams a week. The most likely days are Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or Sunday, and then just 1 to 3 a week, something like that. And then I'm trying to spend the other time not live streaming and being in the Discord to start working on the Pokemon Explained videos. And so, yeah, but that's fun though. Yeah, there was my alarm. So essentially, what I wanted to say with that was you can look out for some more live streams. Next time, I'll be a little more up to it. And we can have some more engaging live streams. This was just me running around trying to find the shiny Wailord, which is kind of like a hard mission in itself. But maybe the shiny Rockruff live streams, some viewer battles, as well as the preparation for the competition can be a little more interesting. But anyway, to get it properly here, thank you very much for coming to this live stream. I appreciate especially Steve's Final Rush, Lord Major Cone, and everyone who stuck around to the end here. It's great help with the moderation, and got a new YouTube member, Lord Major Cone. Very much appreciated. And so you are free to join the NPCHQ Discord if you haven't already, which has been shown on the screen quite a bit here. A link to that is in the video description. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Wait, there we go. All right. Go to Twitch. How about no? Thanks, Final. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. Okay, that's good for me. Since I do nothing but battle, but that is overall bad for the game, because people are gonna get bored so much faster. Wait, what the fuck? So you can go from normal to hidden with this thing? I mean, like, yeah. So essentially, with that change, they are making Sword and Shield into a, like, semi emulator. Not an emulator, but simulator, game simulator. Man, I just need a... English has crashed. Sorry. Yeah, don't link it. It's... I don't know. Okay. Thank you very much for coming to this live stream yet again. I look forward to see you around in future live streams. And they're coming up, so have a good one. Goodbye, everyone.